Hello divers, this is Chris with Dive Zone Scuba for another technical diving tips and techniques video. Today we are not going to have just another regulator video. What we're going to have today is a video on regulator exhaust deflector modifications. So the things that I'm going to talk about in this video pertain only to the atomic second stage. I do not know if you can exactly execute what we're going to be talking about with other regulators, but we're going to be using the atomic second stage to do this. All right, so since this is a video on exhaust deflectors, what we're going to do is we're going to take off the atomic exhaust deflector, and the way that you do this is you can take a screwdriver, and there are two little slots in the regulator exhaust deflector down at the bottom, and you put your screwdriver, your tool in there, and you twist it and pop it off. So this is what we're going to be dealing with today. The reason why we only think that or know that this works with atomic regulator exhaust ports, deflectors, is because of the design. So in order to successfully do some of the things we're going to do today, a few things have to be necessary to be conducted. And the first one is that the bottom part of the deflector right here cannot have any kind of moldings in it. It needs to be completely accessible. And the second modification we're going to do involves the corners of the exhaust deflector, and those as well cannot have any obstructions in them. So you can see that that is clear. There's nothing in there that's impeding that particular part of the regulator. So this is what we're going to be doing our modifications to. In the event that you do make a mistake with your exhaust deflector, a new exhaust deflector is relatively inexpensive, so you can always replace it if you damage it. One thing I would like to emphasize is that in this video we are not going to do anything with the exhaust deflector or the regulator itself that would cause any sort of safety issue. Both of these are actually very temporary type modifications, and if you decide that you don't like to do them, you can simply do away with the modification that you've conducted. All right, so we're going to talk about the two modifications here next. So the first modification that we're going to talk about deals with a second stage regulator necklace, and this is commonly used in a technical diving configuration with the left post or off of the left tank in the case of side mount diving. People are also now using this for regular recreational diving in the event that they practice a primary donate approach. So this is a conventional regulator necklace. We prefer bungee necklaces because they have additional utility over silicone necklaces, and the fact that they can be more or less securely put onto a regulator, and by tightening the double fisherman's bend, and they can also be used to secure the hose, whereas a silicone regulator necklace does not have the ability to stretch to do that. So what we're talking about here is sticking the regulator necklace over the mouthpiece, and this is pretty fundamental. And you take your necklace and you put it on there. And so this is like a conventional setup, and I only have one zip tie on here, but if I had another zip tie mirror image to this one, it would hold it a little bit better. That's what we usually do, is put two zip ties on here. And so this is a conventional bungee necklace setup. So there are a couple of issues with this. One is that Sometimes the necklace gets in the way of your mouth and it becomes a little bit annoying. And of course, in an extreme situation, this could come off. So there are other alternatives that you can do other than taking the bungee necklace and putting it around the mouthpiece. So going back to our exhaust deflector, what you can do is you can drill a small hole right there, and right there, depending upon your bungee size. And we prefer to use 5/32 or 3/16 inch bungee for this. So you can drill a hole right there or right there. Use a center punch in order to do this so that your hole doesn't, your drill bit doesn't slip when you do this. And you drill the hole from the top all the way through. And since there's nothing there on the other side, you can't really damage anything or cause any problems. So once you drill the hole, what you do is you feed your bungee through, and then you tie a single knot underneath it on both sides. And then what will happen is your bungee will now feed through the top like this with the knot inside there. And it does not interfere with the exhaust port function in any manner. And it provides a much cleaner access to the mouthpiece around here. And also, if you need to change out your mouthpiece, you don't need to worry about taking this off because it's not mounted to the mouthpiece area, so it makes changing the mouthpiece much easier. So this is one of the modifications you can do to some regulators, most particularly the atomic regulator exhaust port deflector, exhaust deflector, in order to use a bungee necklace around the regulator. The second exhaust deflector modification involves the typical GoPro or light camera. In this case, what we'd like to do is we'd like to come up with a way of passively recording using a GoPro without causing a distraction to the diver who is making the recording. So there have been many different ways that people have tried to do this, including having mask mounts and other types of mounts like that. And one of the issues that you have is that in certain orientations, certain trim positions, that the bubbles will, from your exhaust deflector, will go past your camera. Other methods of doing this, one included mounting the GoPro on your regulator in front of your purge valve, and that created a potential situation. So in order to use the GoPro in a passive manner without having these limitations, it is possible to again do a modification to your exhaust deflector. So in order to do this, if you have your GoPro, one of the things that you're going to need is a thing called a cold shoe. So this is a cold shoe which would fit on top of the socket in a camera that you typically see on a camera housing. And so what this does is it attaches to the bottom of the GoPro. And you can adjust the angle. And one of the good things about this is if it's mounted on your exhaust deflector, generally speaking, whichever way you turn your head is the way that the camera is going to start filming. So the idea behind the cold shoe is that you have this wheel that clamps down on the cold shoe so that your GoPro cannot get lost. Okay, so it clamps down on there. So in order to do this, you need to have a cold shoe mount, and those are also readily available. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the cold shoe mount and we're going to mount it to the bottom of the exhaust deflector housing again. So this is one of the reasons why it is necessary to have a type of exhaust deflector that does not have anything in the center here that you could use, because what we're going to do, what I'm going to show you is how to mount the exhaust deflector, the cold shoe, in a manner that will be secure on the exhaust deflector, but again will not interfere with it. So what we have is this is a already modified exhaust deflector, and this is what the cold shoe looks like. It's an inch square piece of metal that has 3 screw holes in here. I'm only using 2 of these for this modification. The first one is the primary mount, which is this bolt right here. And so what that does is you drill a hole through the center there, and then you use a nut. And I put Loctite in here so this cannot come off readily. And you screw the mount to that. Now, in order to prevent it from rotating, what you need to do is use another one of the holes, the one on this side, and you need to use another nut and bolt to do that. In this case, this is a very small hole here, so you need to use a very small bolt, something like a 2x72 thread, a bolt that goes through there, and then you have a very small nut that is out here on this side here. So what that does is it prevents the cold shoe from rotating. All right, so once you've attached your cold shoe to the exhaust deflector, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this back on here, make sure it snaps on both sides, and here is my now my modified regulator. And then the cold shoe attaches underneath like that, and you screw it down. And you can also put a lanyard on it. If I was doing a deep dive where I could not go back down and get my camera, if it fell off, I would certainly use a lanyard on it. Alright, so modified like this, what happens is the bubbles come out the side of the exhaust port here, and the camera is actually below that, so they're not normally affected by that. And if you turn your head this way or you turn your head that way, what's going to happen is the camera is going to track with you. Now, you'll notice with this type of getup that 2 things are very important to point out. One is that you have complete access to the purge, so that there's no issue purging a regulator. And the second is, if you have this attached to a hose and you're going to primary donate, then your hand would be around the hose like this, and again the camera mount does not interfere with you doing a primary donate. Okay, so this is what the modification looks like, the second modification looks like. I'm sure someone will notice that the camera is mounted upside down. So in most software, video production software, you can actually flip the image up completely, which is a thing because there are many cameras mounted on the other side of different types of devices, and so that's a very common thing in most software. So this allows you to passively take video without the usual distractions that you see people that are doing videoing. Okay, so that's the second modification. So that's today's video, regulator exhaust deflector modifications. If you have any questions concerning this video, please feel free to email us. Chris with Dive Zone Scuba. Thanks for watching.